If you have the need for speed, save it for the track. That's the message of the Alachua County Sheriff's Office's Beat the Heat program. And as we're about to see, the program's Safety First message is reaching would-be street racers and keeping Alachua County roads and drivers safer.
One fast car runs flat 10 sometimes. Oh yeah, would not want to be caught with that behind me.
Who would? But if you've ever wondered whether or not you could take an Alachua County Sheriff's Office patrol car, there's one way you can find out without getting a ticket or going to jail. The county's Beat the Heat program.
I've been affiliated in competition driver since 2001. The Beat the Heat program actually started up back in around 1984. An officer from Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Don Roberts, actually started the program. He's actually the IOC of the Gainesville Raceway now. After he retired with Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, he came over and presented this information to the sheriff that we had at the time, which was Sheriff Ulrich, and they decided it was something they wanted to get started in our community. Drag racing was something that was real big back in the 60s and 70s, and it kind of faded away, and then it all came back to surface when a certain movie came out, and all of a sudden people start wanting to fix their cars up and street race.
That's when the Sheriff's Office took action, using a modified out-of-service patrol vehicle and components confiscated from auto theft and drug investigations. No tax dollars are used to fund Beat the Heat. The program has continued under current Sheriff Sadie Darnell.
The Sheriff is a big backer of Beat the Heat, and we really appreciate her support. She's offering an alternative to these young people, and we're trying to influence them in a positive way, and I really appreciate it.
The sheriff decided it was something that they wanted to do to get the attention of those people who enjoy motorsports.
And it has, all over the country and the world.
When I joined, I was the 13th member, and we had a lot of meetings and tried to figure out why we weren't growing, and we made a few changes, and now we're one of the fastest growing youth programs in the world. We don't use any tax dollars. Well, we've already gone international. I was sent to London last year by Universal Pictures for the release of the DVD, The Fast and the Furious, and they built me a Wascom, Texas police car, and I raced against the guys from The Fast and the Furious at Santa Pod Raceway. When the event was over, we gave that car to the London police, and they are campaigning that Wascom, Texas police car to race the young people in London.
But the program is about more than just drag racing.
Drag racing is about 5% of what we do. 95% of what we do as an organization has to do with education. We talk to them about the importance of staying in school, getting an education, stay off drugs, and of course we combat illegal street racing, but the use of seat belts and making good choices.
We visit every high school in our county about twice a semester. We talk about aggressive driving, DUI, road rage, and illegal street racing. However, it's a sport that we find it's a lot of fun. However, it's a time and a place for it.
And that place is the racetrack, for a lot of reasons.
Number one, if it's on the street, it's illegal. All right, you can be arrested. What you have to think about as a driver, when you want to compare the street compared to the track, the first thing is this is a controlled environment. It's been authorized to come out and compete in a drag racing fashion where it's safe. So we have a controlled environment, whereas on the streets, you don't have any control. People can pull out in front of you. You have animals, deers, things like that can come out and jump across the street, cause you to swerve, lose control, and wind up striking a fixed object or someone.
And the track also provides an opportunity to stress other racing safety measures like seat belts, helmets, and roll cages. It seems like the message is reaching its target audience.
Here is safer. It's a track, controlled environment. Out in the street, I mean, one's probably not allowed. Two, you never know what pedestrian might come out, or it's an uncontrolled environment.
Still, some are harder to sell on the idea.
I had a mother tell me one time, I was doing clinics to teach young people that come to the track how to properly drag race to get them off the street. And this mother told me, she said, I could just pinch your head off. I said, why do you want to pinch my head off? She said, you taught my son how to drag race. I said, he knew how to illegal street race. I just taught him how to drag race, so he's out the track with us now. And she said, well, I really don't want him hanging out that racetrack with all those undesirables. I said, have you ever been to a drag strip? She said, no. I said, well, one thing, there's not a lot of undesirables that hang out at a drag strip. And if your 17-year-old son is hanging out with 20 cops, what better place for him to hang out than with 20 cops? There's not going to be any drinking. There's not going to be any drugs or drive-bys. I think that's where I'd want my 17-year-old to hang out. So she changed her mind, and I brought her to a drag strip, and I gave her a ride in my car, and she's been a fan ever since.
And Beat the Heat is even helping to make fans for some of the most unpopular people on the planet, traffic enforcement officers.
This is an opportunity for me to get out and interact with people in a different way. Because what I do normally, you know, when they see me, they don't like to see me, they don't want to talk to me because they've done something wrong, and 9 times out of 10 they're probably going to get a citation. However, in this atmosphere here, I can come out and interact with them and also share the reasons why we do what we do as far as traffic enforcement.
It's good for the police agencies and the fire agencies because young people see us in a different light. All of a sudden, we're not just the po-po. They see us as a fellow racer. You know, we're still the police. And then we talk to police and we say, if you see a kid with a tailpipe on his Honda that looks like a coffee can, and he's got a big wing on there, he's got a wild paint job, if he's not doing anything wrong, don't hassle him. That's the muscle car of their generation. It may not be something you like, but apparently he likes it or he wouldn't do it like that. And pull up beside him and tell him he's got a nice car, invite him to come to the track and come out and try to beat the heat. And we make a lot of friends that way.
For more information on the Alachua County Sheriff's Office Beat the Heat program, call 352-367-4000. And don't forget to look for them at the Gainesville Raceway. For County Update, I'm Alan Yetter.